us for Mighty Kids at Home. This is the last week of our January series, Rules for Life, Responsibility. Before we start, you'll need a couple of things. So, like usual, you'll need your workbook. This is the last week. So you have until February 2nd at 5 o'clock to hand in your done workbook. And if it's all filled out, you'll get a prize. So you need your workbook, your pencil, and your coin from your bag in week 3. So those are the things that you'll need for this week. So let's get started. For the month of January, our series is Rules for Life, Responsibility. Responsibility is showing that you can be trusted with what is expected of you. But before we start, let's see what our friend Alex is up to.
Hey guys, it's me, Alex, and today we're gonna play a game. This game is called Brain Busters. So basically, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be a team, me and you, okay? Ready? We're a team. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and you guys are gonna try to figure out what the answer is so that our team can have a point. Ready? This is gonna be the first question. The first question is a math question. So it's gonna use, I think, like this part of your brain. The one where you focus really hard, okay? So here we go. What is 4 plus 4 plus 8 plus 8 minus 16? What do you think it is? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do you know what it is? The answer is 8. If you got that right, then we got a point. Thank you so much for all your hard work. The next question is, with a little bit of clay and a piece of paper, I'm gonna draw something and create something using, like, I think it's this part of my brain, maybe. And I'm gonna be creative, and then you guys have to guess what saying I'm making, okay? Give me like 10 seconds, and I'll be right back.
A few moments later.
Okay, 2 parts. The first part is this. And the second part is this. Do you get it? It's like a dime, a dozen. You know what I mean? Like a dime a dozen. Do you get it? Dozen eggs, a dime a dozen. This phrase actually means that it's so common that it's like not really special anymore. You can find it anywhere. There's a lot of things that are a dime a dozen, but you're not a dime a dozen. You're special. One last question, okay? This one is an acting question. I think I'm gonna be using, I don't know what part of the brain this one is, but it's a different brain. It's a different part. It's a creative part. It's a courage part, because I gotta step outside of my comfort zone. Guess what animal sound I'm trying to make, okay? I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. How about we go to Pastor Mariah for a Bible story, okay? And just in case you're wondering, when we come back, I'm still not going to do it. Have fun with Pastor Mariah.
All right, thanks, Alex. By now, you know what time it is. It's time for our point of the day. So here it is. Make the most of what you have been given. Today's question of the day is this. Have you ever missed an opportunity? What did it feel like? I'll tell you a story. When I was a teenager, I went to Florida on vacation. And obviously, we did all the fun things. We went to Disney. But my one thing that I really wanted to do was swim with dolphins. I'd always wanted to do that. And so my parents said, okay, we can go. But tomorrow morning, you need to wake up really early. And we need to get there early because the spots fill up really fast. And so I said, okay, no problem. So the next morning I woke up early, but I was like dilly-dallying. I didn't eat breakfast very fast. I took a long time to get ready. By the time we had gotten there, I had missed my opportunity. We were too late and all the spots were full. And I was bummed. Have you ever missed an opportunity like that? I'll give you a couple minutes to discuss it with the people around you. All right, did you finish your question? Now is the time for our Bible verse. So this is the last week of our Bible verse of the month. By now, you should pretty much have it memorized. Say it with me. Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So our last Bible verse activity, we're going to do some actions to help us remember. So the first action is this. So whoever. So you go like this. Whoever. And then you go can be trusted, like you're taking something. So whoever can be trusted with very little. And then you just do like a little like this. So whoever can be trusted with very little. Then you go can also be trusted with much. And then you put your arms out as big as you can. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So that's our Bible verse of the month. Make sure that you write it down in your workbook. Okay, now that the memory verse is done, let's go to our story. So our story today is a very well-known story. It's found in the book of Matthew, chapter 25. It's called the Parable of the Talents. Okay, so this is our story. It's called the Parable of the Talents. So I have here 3 workers. And so the story goes like this. There once was a rich man, who's going to be me. And he had 3 workers. And he decided that he was going to go on a trip. And so he called his 3 workers over and he said, listen, I'm going to go on a trip. And I'm going to put you guys responsible for all my wealth, all the things I have, to take care of them while I'm gone. So they said, okay. So this is what the rich man did. For the first worker, he gave him 5 coins, 5 talents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? To the second worker, he gave him 2 talents. And the last worker, he gave 1 talent. And he said, I want you to take care of what I have. And so they said, okay. So the rich man left for his trip. The first worker that he had given 5 coins to went and invested it and worked hard and made him double his money. He made him 5 more talents. The second one that he had given 2 coins to did the same thing. He went, he worked hard, and he made double the money, and he made 2 more talents. The third guy was scared of the rich guy, and so he didn't want to lose his money. So he took his coin and he buried it in the ground, and he left it there so that it would be safe. So finally, the rich man came back, and he asked the first guy, what did you do with my money? He said, I worked hard and I invested it and I made you double. Here's 5 more talents. And the rich man said, great, great work. He asked the second guy, what did you do with my money? He said, I did the same thing. I worked hard, I invested your money, and I made you 2 more talents. He said, great work. To the last guy, he said, what did you do with my money? And he said, boss, you're a really strict guy. I know you don't like to lose your money, so I took the coin that you gave me and I buried it. So here it is. I didn't lose it. And so he said, you foolish guy. You didn't do anything with the talents that I gave you. You hid them away. And this story is something called a parable. And so a parable is a story that Jesus would use to teach people a lesson, to help them understand God's word better. And this lesson teaches us that when God gives us something, he's like the rich guy who gives his workers things, talents. And we have to be like the first worker and the second worker. And we have to use what God has given us and multiply it. Make it more. If he's given us a talent, we need to use it. If God has blessed us with money, we need to share it. So that's today's story, the parable of the talents. And so before we go, let's see what our friend Alex is up to.
Welcome back. When you were with Pastor Mariah, you guys were learning about a super good story in the Bible that talks about making the most of what you've been given. Now, we've all been given different things. Maybe you're a really good dancer or a really good singer, or maybe you're really good at helping your siblings. Whatever you have, we need to make the most of it, right? So maybe you're super good at acting, like you can make really good animal noises, like roar. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna do it. I did it. I made the most of what I was given. Even if it wasn't great, it was a little bit. So guess what animal that was? A zebra. You guessed it. Just kidding. It's a lion. Anyway, thank you so much for staying tuned this month. It was so fun to have you guys. Now remember to make the best of what you've been given this week, and we will see you soon.
All right, so since it's the last week, I figured that we could play a little game. So let's do a little bit of trivia. In your workbook, you have a page that looks like this. So there's questions and then there's answers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to give you 30 seconds to answer it. Then we're going to move on to the next question. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. And then at the end, I'm going to give all the answers out and we'll see how many you got right. All right, are you ready? So the first question is, what book of the Bible was today's story found in? I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, here's the second question. How many workers did the rich man leave his wealth to? Okay, question number 3. What did the first man do with the wealth that the rich man had given him? 30 seconds to answer. Question number 4. What did the second man do with the wealth that the rich man had given him? 30 seconds. Okay, last question, number 5. Why did the last worker bury and hide the rich man's money? 30 seconds. Okay, let's go through the answers. So the first answer to question number 1, what book is today's Bible story found in? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 25. But it's okay if you just wrote the book of Matthew. Second question, how many workers did the rich man leave his wealth to? The answer is 3. 3 workers. Question number 3. What did the first worker do with the rich man's money? The answer is he took it, invested it, worked hard, and doubled the money. Question number 4. What did the second man do with the rich man's money? And the answer is the same. He invested it, he worked hard, and doubled the money. And the last question is, why did the last worker bury and hide the rich man's money? And the answer was, he was scared of the rich man and he didn't want to lose the money that he had been given. So he hid it and buried it. So did you get them all right? If not, that's totally okay, as long as you did your best. I can't believe that this is the last week of our series. I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did, learning about responsibility. The point of the day today is make the most of what you've been given. God has given you all kinds of talents and gifts. Make the most of them. Use them. And our last chance for the Bible verse, Luke 16:10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Thanks for joining us this month for Mighty Kids at Home. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, at the end of your workbook, this week's challenge. Get your grown-ups to give you a responsibility, something that maybe they couldn't trust you with before, but now they can. Finish it, do it well, and write it down in your workbook. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week with our brand new series. Have a great week. Bye!